Okay, right. I am going to show you next gen as the Maya interface. So Maya is the program that you're going to be using for your animation studies. It is the most well used and well known of the industry standards. You're going to have a great time coming to terms with this. You can see that we're using the 2018 version. We've found that previous versions have been a little bit choppy and problematic for us, so we're sticking to this one. Now you will notice that the interface itself looks extremely complicated. There is a lot going on. You can see from the menu system here, so if you start to sort of drill down to this, there's a whole host of drop downs which are going to bamboozle you in many ways. We've also got all the shelves over here. Most of these you won't be using, okay? The rendering one you'll be using, some of the animation one, certainly some of the poly modeling. But obviously you'll be doing your poly modeling in 3ds Max normally anyway. So also for the menu systems we have different attributes here. So in various times you'll be using the animation one and rendering when you've done your animations. So let's have a look at the interface. The first thing you need to know really is how to navigate your way around. So if I hold down Alt and use my left mouse to spin, you will see that that gives us the ability to rotate around and have this 3D space spinning. Okay, I'm actually using a pen, so it's a bit different than the mouse. So that is that, and if I hold down and right click, you'll see holding down Alt and right clicking allows me to zoom. Okay. If I hold down the middle mouse button, that will allow me to move around like so. Okay, so there are your three functions in terms of how to navigate around the 3D space there. Okay, so let's make a little object, shall we? So if I go to create polygon primitives and cube, that's a bit of a funny one. I don't want that. Let's just go into the attributes and see if we can change that. So let's have a look here. Okay, so I'm just going to change that and drill that down to, let's change it to a standard one. So if I double click that, one, double click that, and get one. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see that over here we've got the attributes gives you all of the complicated elements within each object in Maya. The channel box is the one that you'll probably be using more. That one gives us the elements of 3D space and also the, as you can see, the rotating and scaling. So that is our cube. So let's have a look at it, shall we? Okay, so you can see that it's got, let's just see if we can zoom in on that. Okay, so it's got unusual divisions there. Okay, let's just actually, I'm just going to take that off and delete it, and let's make another one. Create polygon primitives. Let's just go into the boxes here, there we go. And we're going to change that to 1, and divisions, let's change that to 3. And let's change that to 3. In actual fact, if we were to go to edit, reset settings, that bumps everything back to normal. Okay, so let's just go create it there. Okay, simple. Okay, so the way in which you should sort of recap that a little bit, if you go into the box here, that gives you all of the different sort of settings for these elements that you're choosing. So we have a lovely little cube. So the way in which we manipulate this is on your keyboard. You can see if I press Q, that's the select tool. Okay, so if I Q, okay, you can see that the select tool is up here. If I press W, that gives me the move functions. Okay, so I can now move this around, take these handles and move it around in space. I can also, oops, let's just take that. Let's make sure that's an object move there. Okay, I can also, Oh, he says, it's funny with this pen. Use the right mouse button. Now you might find that you can, as well as taking these handles here and moving them, okay, you can take the center point, and that will allow you to move it around a little bit more fluidly. Okay, so that is W. So you've got Q, select W, move. E is rotate. So you can see here, I can take that object and rotate it all sorts of different ways. Okay, if you want to go back, obviously like all programs, it's Control Z. Yeah, you'll be no doubt using that a lot, as we all naturally do. And we have, what else we have? We have R. Now R is scale. So you can see you've got Q, select, W, move, E, rotate, and R, scale. So in the same way that you've got the different parameters for the move, whereas you can take these elements and move them, so that's increasing it on the x-axis, as you can see there, the red is the x-axis, the green y-axis here, and so, okay, and we can also take the center point there, make it a really big cube. Whoa. Okay, let's just pan out a bit. So, let's make that a bit smaller because it's going to be scary that cube. So, there we go. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to show you how to, you know how to pan around this object, and you know how to scale it and rotate it and move it. What we're going to do now is just show you very roughly how to animate it, how to get it moving in space. Now you can see at the bottom here, this is your timeline. So at the moment we are set on 24 frames per second, which is the standard of what you'll be using and what most people use. So if I take the cube and put it over here, okay, so you can see it's giving me all the different elements here for whereabouts it is in physical space, and all of the how we've scaled it in different ways from what it originally was. So if I press S on the keyboard, that gives me a keyframe. Okay, so what it's saying now is that at that point in time, that's where the cube is held. Okay, if I go to, let's say, 2 seconds on, which is 48, and move it over here. Okay, now you can see that it's not done anything, in the sense that, you know, it's just sort of holding the cube there, ready for us to say something to it, say, you know, are we going to create a keyframe, yes or no? So I can come over here at frame 48, move the cube and press S again. But really, what I really want is for it to do it automatically. So down here on the right hand side, you've got this little auto keyframe toggle. Okay, if I activate that, next time I move it and dump it somewhere, yeah, you can see now it's automatically created that keyframe there. Okay, so if I now scrub through the time there, you can see, hey presto, 2 seconds, it's moving from here to here. Okay, so that in essence is animation. We will also look at the graph editor. The graph editor is the function in which you will be able to determine the speed and timing of your animation. But I will go through that in a separate video because that's a bit of a bigger beast. In terms of the actual preferences, if I click down the little running man with the cog there and look at the preference file, the playback speed, you need to have that on 24 frames per second and save. Otherwise you'll get into all sorts of weird and wonderful issues. Okay, and there you go. Time for you to have a play.